Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today's guest is Andreea Tamas. She is a sacred transitions coach and a certified coach, speaker and trainer with John Maxwell. She guides people experiencing change, whether they want to move to a new country or place, change their job, start their business, or to go through a loss. Her mission is to help you find the magic in the change. She is joining us from Lake Tahoe, Nevada. And the reason why Andreea is here, because she grew up in a single parent household. And I'm curious to learn what was it like growing up there. Welcome, Andreea. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Irina. Hi, and hi, everyone that's listening. I'm so happy to be here and share a little bit of my story, hoping it's going to help either the single parents that are listening on how to deal with their children, depending on what age they're at, or there even might be just people that are listening that have been just in the same situation as me, and I'm hoping my story is gonna help them open their eyes to certain things, especially to their emotions, because that was the biggest thing that I dealt with when my mom left.
Yeah. So please tell your story. What happened
Yes, so
when your mom left? Yeah.
yeah, so I'm from Romania. I grew up in Romania. I'm born and raised there, and I moved to United States a little bit over 8 years ago. And at the age of 14 is when my life shifted drastically. I am one of the three in my family and the youngest and the only girl. So I have two older brothers. One of the oldest brother, he already left when I was probably 13. It was a very difficult, triggering relationship with my father. They couldn't get along. So at the age of 17, my father pretty much just kicked him out of the house. So he left and he went to Spain to try and find something to work. And my mom left at 14 when we were really having challenges financially, because when my brother left, he borrowed money from some people. I'm not exactly sure how you call those people, but they're a little bit dangerous, like you borrow money and you have to give them back. And my dad, he never agreed with that, but my mom, because she always tried to support us, she was like, oh yeah, just take the money and then you're gonna go work in Spain and you're gonna send them the money back. And that never happened because he wasn't able to find a job. So here there was my mom having to go to Italy to make the money to give it to those people. If not, we were like in real danger. And not just that, but my mom is reminding me that I was a pretty spoiled brat. Being the youngest and the only girl, I would just constantly ask for, like, oh, I want new clothes, new shoes. And she just didn't have the means for her to do that. And my dad was the one that was holding all the money in the house. Like, even if my mom was working and having a job, he would take her money and he would hold the money, all the money within the house, and he would just purely give her money to pay the bills and just buy food. But he didn't even know how much those would cost. So my mom would always be without money. So because she would have this pressure from me that, oh, I'm a girl and I want all these things. And then we had to pay the money for my brother for when he left. She decided to go to Italy to work. And initially, when she left, her plan wasn't not to come back. So she left and she was working like really low end jobs. She was taking care of old people, and she was working two jobs, sometimes even three jobs, to be able to make some money to pay the debts and to send us some money. So that was when I was 14. And after a while, I started asking my mom, okay, like, when are you coming back? And she would keep saying, I don't know yet. I still have to work to send you guys money. And she's like, she was asking me, what do you prefer? Do you prefer me to come back and for us to be at the same place that we were before, where you would ask me for things and I'm not going to be able to give you anything? Or I'm just going to send you money and you can buy whatever you want, but I have to stay here and work. And imagine asking a 14-year-old that. I'm like, I didn't know what it really means for her not to be there, like the impact that that would have. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, I want to have clothes. I want to have stuff, I want to be in the same trend as the girls around me. And there was a point that was crucial for my mom, why she made the decision not to come back. I think it was over a year or a few months, over a year, that she was already away, and she called my dad crying and telling him how hard it is at the job where she's at and that she wants to come back home. And my dad asked her, did you pay your debt? And she said, not yet, because she didn't make enough money to pay it yet. And he's like, when you gonna pay it? After you gonna pay it, then you can come back. So pretty much he just shut her down. And that's when my mom really decided that she doesn't want to come back, because unfortunately her relationship with my dad wasn't the greatest. They grew up in the communism, so my dad's mentality, Irina, as you know, it was that the woman is made to cook and clean the house. So the way he treated women, it was very poorly, and I saw that at first hand. So after my mom left at the 14 years old, I had, like, at that age, I was forced to take on her role, to be the woman in the house. So I became the caregiver of my dad and of my brother, which my brother was older, a little bit older than me, not much, but just a little bit. So I had to clean the house and to learn how to cook. At that time, I didn't have a computer, I didn't have internet. So the way I was doing it, I would go to my neighbor and I would ask her, how can I cook something? Or I would call my mom and I'm like, I have to cook something, but I don't know how to do it. Can you just give me some points on the recipe? So I had to really mature at a very young age. And how that affected me was mainly emotionally, as I shared at the beginning, because I didn't have any support around me. Like, I didn't have a community. I didn't have like a family or a support group or anyone that would be able to support me emotionally. And neither my dad. Like, my dad, I think he told me the first time at 16 years old that he loves me. Like, he didn't know how to show emotions or how to be there emotionally next to me, and neither my mom. So I didn't have any support. So what I did at that time, what I knew the best, I numbed myself. Like, I went through a depression after my mom told that she's not coming back. I went through a depression. I remember sitting in the bed and like screaming and crying into the pillow, because I was feeling trapped in a life that I don't want to have. And then I just numbed myself. And I took that with me until I was probably 26 years old.
Oh.
And how that numbness affected me was that I wasn't able to experience life. Like, I wasn't able to experience neither the pain or the joy.
Right. Yeah, when we feel numb, we don't feel anything. Just what and what kind of advice would you give that 14 or 15-year-old that had to learn how to cook, that had to learn how to clean and do all those things? What would you tell her now? you having
Mm.
gone through that journey.
Yes, I would tell her that she doesn't have to do it all by herself. She doesn't have to be strong. She doesn't have to act like she's 20 years old, because I took it on me and I'm like, oh, I have to be strong for my brother, for my father, for my mom, for everyone. I took on the responsibility that I just have to be strong for everyone. But I wasn't there for myself, because I was there just for everyone else.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of advice would you give single parents who
Mm,
are raising their children?
yes, it's definitely around emotions. It's talking to your child and not knowing that traumas things are going to happen. Like, that's not something you can avoid for your child, and neither you should, because those things form us, create us. They help us go on certain paths. They make us who we are. So don't try to look at every single thing that, oh my God, I'm gonna traumatize this child. No, but it's really like having the communication, the awareness, and really checking in with your child and asking him, like, how do you feel? What do you need? Like, asking those questions, because no one ever asked me what I need and how do I feel. Never. I never had those questions in my life when I was a child, because my parents didn't know. They didn't know better. And I had to do a lot of work on forgiving them for that trauma, and forgiving myself for being so harsh with myself at that age.
Right. Yeah, thank you. I think it's important. Emotions are the most important thing. And oftentimes as adults, we can't really articulate how we feel or putting them into words.
Yeah.
What would you wish your dad or your mom told you when you were little, when you
Mm.
were 15?
Yeah, I definitely wish that my dad would have been able to show his love towards me, because he didn't know how to do that. He grew up in a huge family where they didn't know what it means to show love, to be emotional. I think after my mom told us that she's not coming back, after a while, that's when I saw him the first time crying.
Oh, wow.
So I wish he would have been able to show his love and his emotions towards me, and not just being that tough parent, because he was a very tough parent with all of us. And with my mom, I told her that sometimes, honestly, I wish for her that she would have lived even earlier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I had to witness the fights, the violence, the disrespect that my dad had towards her, which it affected me throughout my whole life, because I've been in that mode of like, oh, I'm gonna be independent, I'm never gonna depend on a man, and proving myself that I'm good enough, because that's what I saw in my mom constantly with my dad, that she's not good enough as a woman.
Wow.
So I asked my mom several times why you didn't leave earlier, and honestly, the reason why she didn't is because she didn't have the means. Like, she didn't have the financials to do that.
Right, right. Yeah. What do you have any positive memories? Like what worked? I understand what didn't work is a lack of
Mhm.
expressing of emotions, but was there anything that worked that you liked in your
Mm,
experience? Any positive spots?
for sure, definitely. And I would say, for me, having that experience, it helped me. it helped me be who I am today, which I am a very, very independent, very go-getter, ambitious, and now also emotional after I have done a lot of healing. But it helped me since that age. Like I was a very good child. I never created any problems for my parents, but I also learned what it means to just go and make things happen into the world, because I had to make things happen at such a young age. Then as I moved forward in life, I wasn't afraid of anything. I'm like, I can figure it out, whatever it is, whatever comes my way. I know there is a way. So that's the most positive thing that happened because of this story.
Amazing. Amazing. So there is light in the end of the tunnel.
Yes, yes, and really what I want to encourage the single parents that are watching this, is really not to just focus, oh my God, the child is gonna be traumatized now because you know you got separated. Really, like, don't just focus on that, but focus on what is my child also gonna gain out of this. How is that gonna shape him in a good, positive way? And that happened with me. And I know it's not the case with everyone, but it can be with your child as well, especially if you're gonna give him or her the emotional support.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Thank you. What would you say is your personal superpower?
I would say it's my resilience, my ambition to just keep going no matter what's happening. But what I've learned, um that ambition, resilience, being strong, it's not only to keep going, but it's also to allow yourself to stop, to stop and to be with it, to be with your feelings, to be with what's happening. Because for me, for many years, I distracted myself with everything around me, like being busy, working a lot. I was just distracting so I don't have to deal with my emotions, so I don't have to deal with my trauma from my past. And when I allowed myself to do that, to start on that healing path, I think I had a year where I've cried almost every single day because there was so much pumped and suppressed emotion. So it's also important to stop and to know that, um, just being with yourself, being in silence, being with your feelings, that's work. That's part of your work.
Right, right. Yes, thank you. I think it's so important. And I like how you highlighted the fact that we can stop, because oftentimes we just keep on going like
Yeah,
the Energizer Bunny until we break, or
exactly.
until it's too late to do anything.
Until you're burnout. And
Yeah,
then but you see, this is what has been promoted and rewarded within our society. And I feel that now we are in a point where that starts shifting, where we do start realizing more and more that, okay, actually not being busy and having 24 things to do in a day, that's not the healthiest, and I don't really want to live my life that way. And stopping and assessing, how do you want to live your life, and remember that you are the one in charge of that.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. What would you say was the smallest thing you done that had the biggest impact on your life so far?
The smallest things I've done. Hmm. I would say started meditating. Started meditating. It's a pretty small thing. I started with 5 minutes a day. um, and it has the biggest impact in my life because that's when I was able to be with myself, to be with my thoughts, to be with my emotions, to learn how not to judge my thoughts when they come through, and really become aware of my patterns. What are my patterns that are keep coming over and over again? And meditation helped me on so many different levels, on feeling so much more connected with a higher power, whatever you believe in, God, universe, whatever you believe in, to be connected with that, then feeling connected with those around me. And not only with people, but with nature, with animals, and having so much more compassion towards those around me and or on towards myself, because it's so much easier to give to others what we need, but we forgive to fill our cup.
You're right. And another thing is also we cannot give what we don't have. So, like if you take a lemon or you take an orange, you don't expect lemon to come out. Like lemon juice to come out. And I can relate to when I introduced meditation, I became more responsive and less reactive, and allowed me to, to go inside and hear my thoughts, and or be less be more at peace with things that as they happen, not be so like, oh my god.
Yes, yes. And another thing that really shifted and helped me, it's good thing, bad thing, who knows? And this is a story that I highly encourage you, a very short story. You can go and Google it. And pretty much the idea is about labeling things. Because when something happens, we tend to automatically just label them as being bad. Like when a change where something more drastic happens, we just label them as being bad. But if you take on this quote or this mantra and just say, good thing, bad thing, who knows? And just stay in that curiosity, it's gonna change the way you experience life. Because the way you label things, that's how you're gonna experience life. If you label things as being bad, that's how you're gonna perceive it, and your suffering is gonna start already.
You're right. I think are you talking about the Chinese farmer tale? How he broke,
Yes.
the leg was broken, and everybody was coming saying, "Oh, it's a bad thing," and then the next day army came, and the son
Yeah.
didn't get drafted because who knows?
Yes, and he would just stay in that curiosity. Who knows? Good thing, bad thing, who knows? Like their neighbors would come to him and be like, oh my God, this is so amazing, so good, and blah, blah. And he would still keep it as good thing, bad thing, who knows? And when something that was perceived as bad, the same, he would just keep it as good thing, bad thing, who knows? So just stay in that curiosity instead of just labeling something automatically of being bad.
Because I think we are taught at a young age, when we are little kids, like this is a pen, or this is bad, this is good, and that's how we carry and project into our day-to-day living, to label everything. We cannot live without labels. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. And then the invitation is, the more aware you are becoming within yourself, within your surroundings, is to really live more in that curiosity and ask yourself, okay, is this mine, or is this something that has been put on me from my family, from the society, and so on? And then ask yourself, do I want to keep it? Do I want to hold on to it? And if not, just if it doesn't serve you, if I was literally just listening to a podcast a few days ago, and the question to ask yourself was, is this helping me or harming me? When you are doing something, when you are thinking something, ask yourself, is this helping me or harming me? And if that label that you have, it's not helping you, but it's harming you, I really want to encourage you to let go.
yeah, that's a great practice to have, letting go of things, letting go of the baggage, and having clarity of mind and ease in your step. I want to ask you, who did you want to be when you were growing up?
I was dreaming of being a nurse.
A nurse?
A nurse, and it's so funny because when I finished high school, my dad actually tried to convince me to go to the nursing school because there was a nursing school there within my hometown. And I was like, no, I need to get out of here, and I don't want to go to the nursing school. I don't know what I want to do, but I know I don't want to go to the nursing school because I was feeling sick when I saw blood. But the reason why I wanted to be a nurse was because I always loved helping people.
Mm.
So that was the desire behind it. It just, I love like taking care of people and helping people. So that's why I was the nurse when I was a child.
Nice, nice. And how did you discover coaching?
Coaching, it's been a rough path to discover it, honestly. After I moved to the US, I moved here in 2014, and back in 2015 I had a near-death experience. And after that, like 1 year or so, I was super mad on that experience itself. I was feeling shame, guilt. I was mad because I was having a lot of medical bills, and like I was just focusing on the bad of that experience.
Mhm.
And after a year or so, I don't know exactly what happened, but I started reframing things, and I started looking at things from a different perspective. And I think a thought or something came to my mind that I'm like, oh my God, I've been living mad on a situation that I cannot change. But the fact is that I was given a second chance to life. So I'm like, that means there is a purpose for me here. So that's when I started looking for my purpose. And I bought a course on affiliate marketing. I'm like, I have no idea what I want to do, what I'm meant to do, but I want to do something. Like, my idea was like, I want to do something to work online and travel the world. And that's how I bought a course on affiliate marketing. That it was definitely not for me. But from there, it was just like that course just directed me towards the next step. And for me, my next step was like, oh my God, I cannot move forward with this course. I think there is something with my mindset. Like, I didn't know anything on I wasn't on the personal development. I was never in that world. So I just went on YouTube and searched mindset videos. I didn't even know what to search. And that's when an ad from Vision from Mind Valley came in. And what he said and the way he spoke, I'm like, he just spoke strictly to me. I'm like, oh my God, I need to take this course. So that's when I started on the Mind Valley journey, where I would say the Mind Valley is the catalyst of my transformation, because from there I got to meet so many different people. And when I went to Mind Valley Live in LA in 2020, that's when I met someone that introduced me to coaching. And initially, so I'm a certified coach and speaker and trainer with John Maxwell. Initially, I went with them because I'm like, oh, I want to be a speaker. I thought I just want to be a speaker. But then they had this track of coaching, and I'm like, this sounds interesting, but I have no idea what it is. And I'm like, I'm just going to start studying it for myself, to help myself. And once I started studying it, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is what I'm meant to do, coaching. So it was just like a pure knowing. And until that point, I was obsessed with my purpose. I was like searching it in everything, in everyone. I was asking everyone, how the heck do you find your purpose? And it took a while and a lot of patience and persistence. It's so important not to give up and to know that you're gonna find it. It's coming, and just trust that when you're gonna find it, you will know it. And also with the purpose, I want to tell people that we put this big pressure that, oh, it's the purpose and this is what we're gonna do for the rest of our life. Not necessarily. Our purpose is gonna change based on how we change. So don't put such a big weight. I know I was putting a huge weight that it has to be this big purpose that I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. So I really want to alleviate that for you, and to know that it can change, it can shift. So the question to ask yourself, if you are maybe searching for your purpose, is like, what is my purpose now? And my purpose changed. Like last year, my purpose was to be next to my partner, to be his caregiver, to give him my love and my care. That was my purpose last year, until this year in April when he transitioned on the other side. So your purpose is gonna change based with what's going on in your life.
Yes, thank you. You bring a very important point that everything changes. The only constant thing in life is change. And as we evolve, as we change, our purpose changes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is there anything, any fun projects you're working on that you'd like to share?
Yes, I created Sacred Circles, it's called. And it's for women only. I'm sorry, guys, if you're listening to this, but it's for women only. And it's really about sisterhood, and it's about coming together to create new rituals, ceremonies, and to be held by higher energies. I'm a very spiritual person, and I work with the Akashic records. So within these circles, I'm opening the Akashic records, and we are holding space for each other to be seen and to be heard, how you maybe never been before. So it's a very sacred, safe space, and I'm so excited. The next one is actually happening this coming Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, and it's happening once a month, and it's the second Monday of the month. That's when it's happening.
Awesome. Sounds exciting.
Yes, it is.
Is there anything I haven't asked that you like to share?
Oh, what I would like to share is just a little bit from my experience from last year. That it was the hardest year of my life. If I thought it was hard when my parents broke up and I was alone, that was nothing compared with what I've experienced in the last year and in these past few months after my partner transitioned. And it's really what I have learned. First and foremost is that we are pure love. That's what I've seen with my partner before he transitioned, before he left, is that we are pure love. And all we want to, like, I feel like our purpose here on earth is to give and receive love, to emanate that love. And I want to tell you that no matter what challenging times you are going through, to know that there is always hope, and to keep on that hope, and to know that miracles do happen. And maybe those miracles are not going to look the way you wish they would, but to know that you're gonna see the meaning of things afterwards, and to just trust and keep going, and do not be afraid to ask and receive help, because people do want to help. People are good and they do want to help. So don't be afraid to ask and to receive help.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's important to ask for help. And sometimes it's difficult because we think it's a sign of weakness. We got to figure everything out by ourselves. And everybody got their problems. Why would they help us? But
Yeah,
when we ask for help, we're actually giving them the opportunity to help us. In addition to us getting better, they get to practice giving help.
exactly. It's a gift we actually offer to people. And this is how I encourage you to look at it, because I just want you to put in that situation when someone that goes through a challenging time is asking you for help. Don't you feel like privileged to help them, and then you feel so much more fulfillment because you're like, oh my God, I was able to help this person that really needed me, and I'm so honored that they were vulnerable enough to ask for help.
Yes.
So this is how it is for the other person as well.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
If people would like to find you or work with you, where would they go?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, is Andreea with double E Tamas, or on Instagram, it's a sacred underline rebel, a sacred rebel. That's how you're gonna find my username on Instagram.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and wisdom as a child growing up in a divorced, in a single parent household. And it's been amazing to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm sending much love to everyone that's listening.
Thank you.